Raid Shadow Legends in Assassin's Creed is here with a free login loyalty legendary in Ezio, Sacred Order attack-based Spirit Affinity champion. In today's video, we will take a look at his entire kit. Is he worth your precious resources? Is one thing to get a free Lego. It's another thing to say, are they good? Are they worth investing in? We'll take a look at his entire skill set, and we'll hypothesize, how should you build this champion? Last but not least, I will give my opinions on this Raid Shadow Legends and Assassin's Creed IP collab. Is it a banger or is it a meh? All that and more in today's video. So here we have the Ezio chase. We can get Savage gear as part of the first phase. Second phase, we have a chance at Ezio's 5-star soul. All right, guys, so here it is. This is the skill set. Is this dude any good? Let's go ahead and read through it together again. He is a Sacred Order. We needed another Sacred Order legendary. We really did after Udex and all the others. We needed another one. A Spirit, again, attack-based champion here. On his A1 Eagle Dive, attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance when booked of placing a big version of decreased defense, can't be resisted if this champion is under a veil or a perfect veil. Da Vinci's Design. Hell, I love the name of this ability. Attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance of placing 2 poison debuffs and a poison sensitivity debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. These debuffs cannot be resisted if this champion is under a veil or perfect veil. Instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies under 4 or more debuffs. If enemies are under a stone skin buff, has a 100% chance when booked of placing 2 bomb debuffs that will detonate after 2 turns on them instead. Interesting. These debuffs cannot be resisted if this champion's under a veil or perfect veil. If all enemies are under a stone skin buff, decreases each bomb debuff's detonation cooldown by 1 turn. All right. You know, I want to read through the kit and then I'll give you my opinions on it afterwards, okay? Hidden Gun is his A3, attacks one enemy. Before attacking, steals all buffs from the target. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion's under a veil or perfect veil. Ignores 35% of the target's defense as well as shield and strengthen buffs on his A3 Hidden Gun, 4-turn book down to a 3-turn cooldown. He has 2 passives. First one is called Everything is Permitted. Whenever an enemy's HP drops below 25% after receiving damage from any assassin, they receive additional bonus damage proportional to this champion's attack. This bonus damage will ignore 100% of the target's defense and cannot be critical. Okay, so again, whenever an enemy's HP drops below 25% after receiving damage from any assassin, they receive additional bonus damage. Interesting, kind of like an assassin's soul reap type mechanic here. Full synchronization is second passive, places a perfect veil on this champion for 2 turns at the start of each round. Whenever this champion is about to receive damage that would exceed 50% of his max HP, has a 35% chance of decreasing the damage received to 0 instead. Whenever this champion is attacked, also has a 35% chance of counterattacking. Increase ally speed in all battles by 19%. Oh man, this is a very interesting champion. So Plarium does not give us the multipliers on these champions, which I think is a shame. I mean, why hide it, you know? Why hide it? So as I always say, TBD on exactly how good he is. He's obviously a damage dealer. He brings poisons, poison sensitivity, decreased defense with a counterattack potential in his passive on his A1. It looks like a hard-hitting ability with his Hidden Gun. Is this the first champion in the game that has a gun? I think so, right? 35% ignore defense on that move as well. He has the Veil Perfect Veil synergy, which he starts each round for 2 turns on. How do you guys feel about this dude? I want to say pros and cons, right? Overall, I personally think he's a really legit daily login, or not daily, but a loyalty login champion, considering everybody in the world will get this dude. They definitely upped the ante, like from the Alexander the Sharpshooter days, AoE decreased defense, right? That being said, what I like about his kit are these passives. Now, is there going to be a TMNT Unity type champion in addition to Ezio that will have to go ahead and, you know, get towards the end, I'm sure, of the collab to bring everything together? Probably. I don't know. We don't know. Or is this it? Is he the Unity and it's all from the Everything is Permitted passive? Again, we don't know that. My guess, and I could be wrong, is that everybody, all the assassins will have an assassin-specific passive, and there'll be a unity assassin as well. Just be a guess, because it was such a banger of an idea with the Ninja Turtles. Just don't get fooled by the every event's gonna be the big event like it was for Leonardo again, okay? It's gonna come at the end if there is one of those. All right, back to the kit. I like both the passives. Everything is permitted is self-explanatory, pretty good. The full synchronization, I think it's really good. This is like an evade, but arguably better, right? Whenever this champion is about to receive damage that would exceed 50% of their max HP. Well, exceed 50% of his max HP, but he's going to be pretty squishy anyway, so hopefully it won't take much. Has a 35% chance of just negating the entire damage. Interesting. We'll still get the debuffs there, though, so you could argue about evade or whether what is better. But I like that they're kind of leaning into the survivability of him. Have a survivability mechanic is what we want to see in damage dealers, of course. Whenever this champion is attacked, he can counterattack, and that counterattack plays with the decreased defense, which is pretty good as well. We don't know the damage, of course. I want to talk about the A2, though. The A2 is very interesting. We're sitting at a very interesting kind of crucial point in the meta in Raid Shadow Legends as it pertains to PvP, right? PvE, like, this is good. 2 poison sensitivity on everybody. You could use that almost everywhere, especially on a 3-turn cooldown. But as it pertains to the arena, Stone Skin, 2 bomb detonation under Stone Skin isn't that good, I hate to say, unfortunately, because there's just ample time to cleanse off, and it's just like 2-turn detonation is just not, it's not effective enough for the meta, right? That's why we see the Nishaks and the cross wall breakers and stuff like that get the extra turn, reduce the duration, and that's what gives them viability, especially in Nishak's case. However, all enemies must be under Stone Skin to decrease the bomb's debuff detonation to 1 turn. In a meta that is shifting not away from Stone Skin, I think Stone Skin is going to be incredibly meta and very viable for a long time to come. But Mercurial is a thing, and Mercurial will just deny all of this. Moreover, all it takes is 1 champion to be built for speed on the opposing arena team, or 1 champion to have Feral set, or 1 champion to have, you know, a Mercurial set. And then as long as 1 enemy is not under Stone Skin, well, the bombs are going to be 2 turns. So for me, I'm really not enamored by the PvP meta potential of this champion. That doesn't mean you can't use him. That doesn't mean he might not smack, especially in an earlier progression account. But I am not really enamored by the A2 on first glance. That's my first take. So my first take on this champion is really interesting, definitely solid. I think a lot of accounts can use this dude, but I don't think he's going to be like an endgame meta champion, which probably isn't a surprise for the free logins. We've only had a few of the free logins, the loyalties, that have really became a legit meta champion. UDK, Sun Wukong, and Ninja, right? I might be forgetting one. That being said, he doesn't strike me as that bad. I hate to ride the fence here, but, you know, I think he's a solid champion, but I just wish that A2 was a little bit juicier there. Everybody, I wish it was just if all enemies, how about if an enemy is under Stone Skin, decreases the bomb debuff by 1 turn. I wish it was an individual, not the entire team. So that's the bummer there. But overall, that's his kit. What do you guys think? Now, in terms of this entire collaboration, and what I want to do is I want to show you a little bit about the boss too. This is the boss. This is Pontiff Augustine. Pontiff Augustine, he's a legendary Knights Revenant champion, and I'm sure he'll be a champion too, like the bosses always are. He's also the event dungeon boss for the Assassin's Creed collab, and he's a Knight Revenant, like I said. So that means none of these champions, as we know right now, are part of the new faction, but Raid did say on the record that we'd be getting 1 champion from the new faction early on in the year, and then everything else for the new faction would be announced in March along the 8th anniversary of Raid. So I'm in a kind of a wait and see right now. I don't know. Is it going to be as part of the Assassin's Creed collab, this new faction, or something entirely separate? We're also probably going to get a fusion champion and whatnot, so stay tuned here. I'll give the news as I have it, of course. Overall, how do I feel about this collab? Man, I welcome the event dungeon. It's going to be Chronophage gear. They had kind of an issue with the early press release on this. Chronophage is not it's going to be the buffed version of Chronophage, right? I'm happy about that. I'll definitely be farming the event dungeon. I would have preferred Pinpoint. That's just me. But, you know, whatever. Chronophage is still good, especially even like using a 2-piece, getting that speed, that 10%, and 4-piece for that matter as well. All that being said, how I feel personally about the collab. It wouldn't have been my first choice. I've never played Assassin's Creed in my life. I'm an old man, and the way that my life worked, for those of you who care, was that I had I was a big gamer in my teens growing up and into my early 20s, and then I took like a big 15-year break where I only played mobile games, and now after I had a kiddo, I'm getting back into more console games and stuff. So I missed this large swath of popular games, you know, so I'm a little out of touch. That all being said, sure, I'm an old man. I loved He-Man, Thundercats, G.I. Joe. I grew up with that stuff, right? This less so, Assassin's Creed, so it doesn't speak to me, but I'm not here to rain on anybody else's parade. Maybe you guys love Assassin's Creed, and if you do, congratulations. Hope y'all like the next one more when we have Thundercats, you know what I'm saying? Thundercats! So anyway, guys, I will keep it there for this video. Those are my thoughts overall, though. It's not what I was personally looking for, but hey, if I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there of Assassin's Creed, and if so, don't blame me too hard when I butcher all the names of this collab in the comments. Please, guys, I'm so sorry. I suck at pronunciation. All right, guys, we're going to end it there. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.